In a narrow alleyway in Tokyo, where the scent of wet paper mingled with ink and dreams, Ichiro Fukuzawa sat before his white canvas, like a page in a book yet to be written. The dawn light filtered through the torn curtains of his modest studio, caressing his face, wrinkled with the scars of alienation from this world. Fukuzawa was born in a turbulent time, in a Japan that was tossing and turning like a stormy sea. He lived between two worlds, the East with its strict traditions and the West with its surrealist fantasies that turned the mind into a cracked mirror of the world. In his early years, he was influenced by the works of Dali and Magritte, but he never forgot his roots. He began to paint Japanese women with eyes floating in the water and samurai with arms that transformed into plum branches. Painting for Fukuzawa was not an artistic luxury, but rather a quiet resistance, a muted cry in the face of authority. In 1941, he was suddenly arrested. They said he was spreading corrupt ideas, that his paintings sowed doubt in the hearts of soldiers, and that he was dealing with strangers. They didn't torture him, but they did strip him of his most precious possession, his intellectual freedom. In his cell, he wasn't allowed a brush, so he used cigarette ash to paint eyeless faces and doors leading to other walls on the walls. Months later, he was released on one condition, that he use his art to serve the empire. And here he was now, painting posters glorifying the flag, the general, and victory. His hands obeyed, but his heart escaped with every brushstroke. In one painting, he depicted a soldier raising his sword, but hidden within the folds of drawn smoke was the shadow of a weeping woman, visible only to those with a third eye or a broken heart. He wasn't a spy, as some claimed, but he was always cautious. He opened letters with suspicion and avoided conversations in cafes. Art was his only window to an inner truth he dared not reveal. On a cold autumn evening in 1952, after the war had ended and the statues of tyrants had been shattered, he held his first exhibition since his release from prison. The exhibition wasn't crowded, but among the visitors was a young man with worried eyes who stood for a long time in front of a large painting. A dismembered human body, its organs scattered in an empty space, but the heart hanging by a silk thread from a flying fish. The young man approached Fukuzawa and asked, "Is this about you?" The painter gave a small smile and said, "It's about everyone who has had to live twice, once for others, once for themselves." That evening, Fukuzawa was no longer just a painter, but a witness to an era that had let down dreamers, but never completely crushed them.